Today on Fun Cooking, we're doing Whip It Up Wednesday. We're going to make the pot roast, all the fixings, and the gravy in this crock pot. I hope you'll come back and see how we do it. So the ingredients we will be using today will be a chuck roast, dehydrated minced onion, beef bouillon, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, steak seasoning, some vegetable oil, Worcestershire sauce, beef base, and vegetable stock. So the first thing that we want to do is turn on our flame and add our oil to our pot. And we just want to let this oil get hot. And while that's doing that, we're going to take our steak seasoning and we're going to sprinkle it on one side fairly generously. I like to press mine into it. That way it sticks. And then we're going to take it and flip it over and add the rest of the steak seasoning to the bottom side. Press it in. Now the bottom side of my roast has some cracks in it, and I want to make sure that I press the seasoning into that. That will help flavor the roast throughout. Anywhere you can push that steak seasoning in. Okay, now that we've got it seasoned, we're going to push that aside. We're going to take our vegetable broth, and to that we are going to add our Worcestershire sauce and our beef base. And we're just going to stir it up a little bit. We want to dissolve this base. Now we're going to take our ground bouillon, Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, and our minced onions, and we're going to mix this all together. And essentially what we're making in this bowl, an onion soup mix. You can spend a couple bucks at the store for it, or you can make it for pennies. I believe our oil is ready, so I'm going to stick our roast in there, and we're going to sear it on all sides. Now we're doing this in a cast iron pan, but any heavy bottom pan would work well. And we just want to let this sit for about 4 or 5 minutes per side. This is going to help develop the color and keep it from looking gray. I'm going to let this finish up and then I'll come back when we're ready for the next step. Okay, so our roast has developed the color that we want. We're just going to lift it out of this brazier and throw it into the crock pot. Now the next thing I want to do, take our base, give it another little stir, pour this in around. But I don't want to pour it over the roast because I don't want to wash off any of the seasoning that's on there. So I put in about 3/4 of our stock mixture. Next, I want to take our seasoning soup mix that we made, and we're just going to sprinkle it over the top generously. And that's pretty much it. Now I want to set the slow cooker on low. This particular cut of meat needs that time to help develop the flavor and become tender. We're going to let it cook for about 6 hours, and then we're going to check it, make sure it's at least 165 degrees. But in the meantime, we're not going to take the lid off because removing the lid will increase your cooking time for about 30 minutes. Put this on, and I'll be right back to take you to the next step. Finally, we're here. This roast was a little bit thicker than I normally cook, and it ended up taking a little bit longer than I expected. Actually, about 3 hours longer, but that's okay. Now we've waited to this point to put in our vegetables so they wouldn't just disintegrate in the juice. Now the potatoes have been soaking in cold water up until this point just so they wouldn't turn brown. And I'm going to go ahead and stick them in the microwave for about 4 minutes to warm them up and pre-cook them a little bit because we don't want the roast to turn to mush. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then when they get done we're going to add all our vegetables in and I'll bring you back to show you the next step. And there's our beeper. Yes, they are a bit steamy. Not too done, just where we want them. So we're going to take our lid off of our crock pot, and we're we're going to go ahead, put the potatoes in, draining off any of the moisture that's in the bottom of the bowl because we don't want to thin down our stock. And then we're going to just pour in our carrot, our celery, sprinkle the onions around it. Yes, my hands are clean. You know what? There's something else I want to add. Can of mushrooms. So we'll just sprinkle them across the top. There we go. And we're going to let this sit on low for about another hour. And when that hour's up, I'll be back to show you what it looks like. So our roast is finished cooking, and I've taken it out of the crock pot and put it on a platter along with all the vegetables. And I'm going to take a tablespoon of cornstarch to a half a cup of water. I'm just going to whisk these together real quick and make a slurry. Make sure you get all of the cornstarch dissolved because we don't want any lumps. Then we're just going to take this and pour it into the gravy and whisk it up. And we're going to let this cook for just a few minutes until it thickens up. We're going to let that sit a few minutes. We'll be back. Okay, so our gravy is done. It's nice and smooth, and I've fixed my plate. I'm going to taste some of the vegetables to begin with. They have a really great texture and taste pretty good. Let's try the roast. It's really good. Well, I hope you liked this video, and if you want to try this recipe, you can find it at www.funcookingchannel.com. I'll see you next time. Whip It Up Wednesday is a crock pot collaboration founded by the following YouTube channels: Linda's Pantry, Sutton's Days, The Needy Homesteader, More to Life, and Wilhelm's Kitchen. A link to their playlist will be included in the description.